Hello YouTube, how are you? Most of you may or may not know I like to collect old videotapes. Most of them are, films that I watched when I was a kid, horror. I have a big Schwarzenegger collection, some James Bond, Star Trek, and a big John Wayne collection that I inherited. Well, I've had this Philips for yonks and I'm a Sony fan. I've always fancied a Sony VCR that I used to have like when I was a kid. They're always pretty good quality, etc, etc. So I thought to myself, I'm going to buy a Sony VCR. But of course I'm not going to buy one that's working. Where's the fun in that? I probably should have bought one that was working. I don't know a lot about VCRs, video recorders, video players, tape players, whatever you want to call them. I'm aware of how they work roughly. They have a couple of sensors to make sure the tape's in. They have a couple of belts for loading and unloading the tape. And that's about as far as my knowledge goes. And I thought, I'm going to give it a go. Why not? Whoever packed this off eBay did a pretty good job, if I'm honest with you. So I'm proud of you, whoever you were. But this is a Sony, I think it's E40 VCR, voted by one guy as the worst VCR ever to work on in his life. So let's open this, get into it and see what it looks like. Well, it turns out the quality of packing is average. This is a cardboard box inside a cardboard box. This thing weighs a ton. I wanted a VCR that was from around about, I'm going to say, the late 90s. It has just that look and that beefiness and that meat that I wanted. That 2000s and the later revisions of VCRs when videos, let's be honest, were on the way out into DVD season. They just don't have it. And this is pretty solid. It's a Sony, as we've got a nice little Sony logo. DA Pro 4 head. I think this is a reasonable one. It's got this natty little flick down thing there, look, where you can press buttons, set your programming. I never worked out how to set programming. No, I don't think any video player in our house ever had the right time on it, so we couldn't do anything. It's an SLV-E40. I don't think it's a particularly top of the range version. It's massive. Like, I'm used to cassette decks, but this thing is absolutely huge. On the back we've got AC in, which is handy because I've got some spare cables for that PlayStation connector, whatever the real term is for it. Euro AV, which is SCART cable, and aerial in and out. And that is it. And you must be 18 to use it. Right, let's get the top off, put some power to it, see what the condition is and see what's wrong with it. 2 screws in, we've got odd screws, which is not a good sign. So the top's off, and first thing I notice is someone's definitely been in here before, so I haven't got a lot of hope for this, if I'm honest with you. This thing was just floating about inside, and I believe this plugs into that white plug down there, which I'm going to try and just plug it in for the sake of it. I predict failure. But anyway, for those that don't know, a VCR is essentially a giant tape deck. It has a loading mechanism, it has a couple of sensors. See this little guy down here? This is, I think it's an infrared transmitter. And this will transmit a beam to a sensor. So when you put a tape in, which is where my fingers are here, that's the tape bit. This will transmit a beam. Once the tape's in, it'll break the beam, it'll know there's a tape on its way in, and it'll load the tape with a loading mechanism. The loading mechanism belt is usually underneath. These are the heads, head, whichever way you want to play it, and there's various other bits and bobs. These are more, it's a giant cassette transport in my mind, but upon inspection everything else seems okay. There is a plug there, which is making me nervous because there's no wire into it, but I can't see a corresponding plug anywhere else, so maybe that shouldn't have one. Little things like this, look, somebody's definitely detaped that in the past, but all the rest of the screws look undamaged, so maybe someone's been in there to prod about and then, I don't know. My guesses with this is IPA clean of the sensors and the infrared transmitter. If I can find the corresponding sensor, I think it is the corresponding sensor, if you look at where this IR transmitter is down here, it goes over there. I think it's there, up in that corner. I think that's the sensor there. It's quite well put together. This loading mechanism doesn't seem broken. I don't know what the faults are on it. We have various idlers, pulleys, things that should be greased, which are reasonably greased. So we've got heads to clean, sensors to clean. There's a belt which is accessible from underneath. You can just see it there in between those two white wheels. I think that's the belt down there. So we need to check it out, make sure that's not slipping. Let's put some power in it and see what it does. One power cable from the stash. Oh my goodness. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Alright. Nice little LCD screen that's backlit there as well, actually. Whatever that is, it should be easy to find, but the rest of it looks like it's kind of working. This is weird to get the screen behind the screen. Right, so I think first thing, that sounded like it was from underneath, which is where the motor and the belt and things like that are. So I'm going to unplug it so I don't give myself a shock. And then I'm going to take the bottom cover off and look underneath, plug it back in and see whatever that is. These feel like nobody's been in here. Ooh. Okay, so our problem was definitely mechanical, and I suspect... Oh, that belt is... all the belts are absolutely toast. Look at that. Alright, this is good. This is good for us, guys. Because we have the technology. We can deal with this. They haven't turned to goo, but... Oh, they're very close. There's one. That is very close to goo. And this one here... extremely loose. So now, because we're dealing with alien technology here, these belts are a lot thicker than what we're used to. So I'm going to have to order some belts. We are looking at, I'm going to say 2mm. 2mm belts. I wonder if we can chuck any old belt on it and see if that makes any difference. Because I'm a curious fellow, I have out of my Chinese belt stash some 1.5mm belts, which are cassette deck belts. So I think what I might do is just fire these on. I just want to prove concept really that this may or may not be knackered, and just see what happens. See if it'll load a tape. It surely can't be this easy, and I don't expect it to be. Oh, that's not easy. All right, we're in. 2 belts. What was that? 2 minutes? All that seems to work. Let's try it out. And this is the benefit of having a stash of belts in any workshop, guys. All right, even if they don't become the permanent belts, you can at least find out if it's knackered or not. Well, let's try that again. Let's put 240 in. No such luck, but I want to see what this does. Ah, see? The belts come... Ah! Look at that bad boy. I see a potential issue here. Is anybody else? Wow. That is some serious some serious belt residue. So what we've got to work out now is, oh, we've got another pulley here, look. Ah, so I reckon there's one from there to there. I'm going to say this is eject loading, perhaps. I think that's correct. I think this one here is correct. I think we're right with that one. The other one popped off, weirdly. I'm not entirely sure why. I'll recheck that one. We had one from this pulley to this pulley. I think there's a belt there. So I managed to get the pulley off that motor, and it's time for our old friends, IPA and cotton buds, because that is minging. And it's also up in the motor as well, so I'm going to get it out with that bushing and oil the bushing as well. Let's go. Okay, that's the best we're going to get. And the motor and the bush is cleaned up quite nicely as well, actually. So I think what I'll do is put a little bit of oil into the motor bush, just to give it a bit of, not too much. We're at an angle here as well, it's about 30 degrees back, so that should get into that bushing. And then in order to get it in properly, just give it a bit of a tweak and a turn. My finger ends are all dry because I covered in IPA. Anybody who works with old belt goo, I think it's impossible to clean off without being covered in it, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But I think I'm happy now enough to pop this pulley back on without damaging the motor. And I want that to be aligned height-wise with this wheel over here. So I think that's pretty good, actually. The top of it wants to be aligned with this metal plate here. So let's see if we can find a belt to go from there over to there, which is a pure guess, but we'll see what we've got. Got two options for a belt. One's a little smaller than the other one. I think I'll try the smallest one first. It seems to be a little more pliable. And we'll see if we can get that to thread over there somehow. Just like that. Let's put some power to it, see what happens. Everybody get ready and see the action of the belts. Here we go. Clicking's gone. This looks like it's fast forward rewind. I think this one might be the motor for the eject and tape input. When it sees a tape through those two sensors I showed you, it will automatically start sucking the tape in at the same time. The thing I'm twitching about with this is because there was little bits of things loose in it, I presume that nobody could fix it at the time, or they couldn't eyeball what was going on with it. So I think what I'm going to do is flip it over, give the sensors a bit of an IPA clean, and then see if it'll accept the tape. I did think I got this the wrong way around, actually. I thought that these over here were the sensors and this was what was transmitting the infrared. I think it's the other way around. I think this is the transmitter and this is the sensor. So just it looks pretty clean. I'm just going to give it a cursory once over. Really just because why wouldn't you? Not too much and not too little, obviously. But from what I understand, these are essential to be working. I'm pretty sure a little bit of muck isn't going to get in the way of infrared. Right, so the moment of truth, let's put some power to it without sticking our fingers in it. And turn it on. That's us on. Head spins. No silly noises, anything like that. And let me find a video that I don't care too much for. Pick a video. I quite like them all, if I'm honest. Max headroom, and let's just see what happens. And it seems to be working. I don't know if you can see from the reflection there, but that is turning and burning. A little bit of a success there, I think, potentially, for the sake of a couple of belts. What a beautiful picture of the inside of a video player. Look at that. Lovely. Right, let's hook you up to a telly. From the information on the front, this appears to be working. Auto tracking is on. Let's see if I get copyright striked from Max Headroom. There's some pretty comprehensive copyrights on YouTube if that's where it's at. But it looks great. It's playing. They can't all be this easy. Surely not. Let's try stop and eject. Okay. Right, so we're all plugged in, everything's running, everything's on, SCART lead is in the back, and it does give us a blue screen. I didn't think it would, but maybe that's just the way it is. But let's press play and see what happens.
Leave it all outside for collection? No, do what everyone else is doing. Take it direct to the municipal garbage tip. You'll find it on the pavement right outside your nearest hamburger or fried chicken takeaway.
Went down town for a cup of tea and I saw two skinnies looking at me. I'll give them headbutts. I'll give them headbutts. I'll give them headbutts.
It's a great picture. The quality of this it's way better than that one. And this is recorded from TV as well. I have no idea what this is. Let me just mute the TV so I don't get some kind of copyright strike, but I'm not going to get copyright strike from Max Headroom talking, I don't think.
For rock bands, that sort of thing. Used to cost nothing in the old days.
I'm really happy with that. Alright, I mean, I know that's a really quick fix. It's a relatively quick video, guys, but that's how quick it was to fix this. A couple of belts. This is some piece of machinery. I mean, this thing is huge. You can tell with the difference in size over this thing here. Just, I guess, just how far technology went in 10 years. From what I understand, you know, Sony kind of mid to late 90s and all the other VCR brands, the better ones, I think I'm going to rank Sony, Panasonic, JVC. They threw everything they could into producing higher quality video players. I don't think this ranks as one of the highest quality ones that Sony did around the time. But it's certainly, for engineering at least, I mean, it's very solid. The little LCD display, I'm really happy with it. It's actually really nice. There's a mark on here somewhere. It looks like someone's dropped a soldering iron or something. But yeah, a big heavy piece of machinery that wasn't working, fixed with just a simple little bit of ingenuity. I'm going to give it a little bit of a clean out, a bit of a bougie out, and then this will, honestly, this is going to become my my main video player in the garage. It's a little bigger, but I'm not bothered. And it looks cool, let's be honest with you. So yeah, if you like that kind of content, let me know. It's a little different, but I might do some more of these. Maybe persuaded by the fact this was very simple. I'm sure some of them aren't very simple. If it's on eBay or something and there's a description that tells you what's wrong with it, I would say doesn't accept tapes would be a good one, because the belts drive the tape accept and reject. So if you can find that, that might lead you in the right direction. I don't think I'm going to be a millionaire off fixing VCRs in 2026, honestly, but it's something that people are getting more and more interested in. I'm certainly interested in it, you know. I mean, as I say, look at this up here. Another one done, another one fixed. Real quick video. I'm trying to resurge this channel. I have some stuff in boxes next to me. I've got some mini discs. I've got Tascam gear. Love a bit of Tascam. Not a fan of Denon, but it doesn't say Denon, so let's ignore the fact that it doesn't. I've got some real nice Tascam professional stuff, so we're going to get into that soon. But if you like these, and this is something that's interesting, I appreciate it's different for the channel, but to me, it's the love of restoring old electronics. Have yourselves a great Sunday night now. Have yourselves a great week ahead, and I wish you all the best. Peace!